Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a dual perspective battle, and yes, we've got another feature where we've got two tanks, two different views of the same battle. And you're looking at a Lansen C, which is a tier 8 Swedish medium tank. It's located on the north spawn of Steps, and it's under the command of Banks of Reborn. And a short distance away is my SU-130PM. I'm on my NA account, Fixing Stupid, and I'm playing in the SU-130PM, the Tier 8 Soviet tank destroyer. Okay, let the battle commence and you'll see exactly what happens. Banks is having a bit of a crisis of confidence, brought on by the fact that whenever she went into battle, she was either dying too early or everyone else was getting kills and she wasn't, and she felt that she wasn't being allowed to do any damage to the enemy whatsoever. And so we said to her, try and sit back at the back of the battle and then watch as it unfolds, stay alive, and then get damage on the enemy as and when you can. But don't go diving in and get killed very quickly and very easily. Stay back and be more relaxed, and then it all will come to you. And that was the advice of Zoe Balls. Well, I also gave some advice. I said, play some TDs, play at the back, get some shots on the enemy, let other people find the enemy, and then you can do damage to them. You can see I'm up there in a TD position, up on top of that hill. Mary, well, I'm not sure that. I think she wasn't concentrating on where she was going at that moment, but she comes around to this hill so you can get shots on the enemy. And we've already lost our first team member. Yes, a TL1 LPC, I think it was, died. Okay, Mary's going a bit further forward than I thought was safe, but and I actually did at one point say fall back. In fact, an enemy tank, an enemy Arty, has just overturned themselves and they've died out of the game as well. Okay, first enemy's coming close, and it was an ST-52. Got taken out by our Strip 74. He's a little way behind Mary in this position. Mary's just hanging forward at the moment, just watching what's going on. You can see I was moving about as well. And I said fall back, and said that she should fall back at this point because she was a bit too far forward and she was spotted by the enemy. And at this moment she was thinking about pulling back, but she was just staying where she was. And you can see the Type 64 has decided to go ahead and do some spotting, and this is useful actually because he'll find out where the enemy is, and he has, and he found this Lansen C. Mary locks on, and unfortunately she doesn't get a shot at him. I missed my shot as well at the Lansen C, and we'll see that player later on. Okay, she can see now a Cromwell directly ahead of her. She's gone to the sniper view, puts a round in, and she gets her first kill. So she's actually got a kill. At last she's actually doing the job. And I say hang back, but well, she's just staying back for the moment. And she said she was going to move forward into the dip. So what'd she do? I was looking at that AMX 1375 that she's just spotted, and yeah, I get him. I killed him. So she moves into this dip where the Cromwell was. She's fairly safe in here, but she was spotted by the enemy, and she takes a round from a Lansen C. Now that's that Lansen C again, their best player. And the SU-130PM has been spotted by the EC8 and by Mary. She takes another round from the Lansen C. And at this point in the game I see that the SU-130 is vulnerable. The T-25-2's gone in as well. Mary's hanging back. I come up with the SU-130PM, lock on, fire a big round into the SU, ram him, and Mary picks up the kill with a quick kill shot. So she's now got 2 kills and showing a lot more confidence. Oh, I think that was one of our own team firing at one of our teammates. Well, I pop up on this spot here to knock that tree down, And Mary's now brimming with confidence, and she actually goes a little further ahead again than I would be happy with. And she's found that Lansen C, which turns out to be the best player on the enemy team. He's actually got the most damage. And so she goes in and starts dueling with him, gets the kill. And at that point I turn up. I was going to come around the other side and shoot him in the ass. But fortunately, Mary Banks got hit by the enemy Arty. I got splashed by them as well. Yeah, you can see it was a direct hit on Mary's front quarter where the shell went in. But we're now looking for an enemy SU-130PM. We found him. There he is. Mary locks on, puts a shot in. I'm popping up as well at this moment. And there you go. Got the kill. So between us, we've got 5 kills now. But suddenly you notice that they're capping. In fact, they've got one in the cap already. And Mary's actually proceeding on, but I said over TeamSpeak we need to fall back and reset the cap. And so Mary actually, instead of going on to cap at this point, she turned around and came back. But she thought, well, maybe we're a bit late because there's still one in the cap. We're dashing back, and now there's 2 in the cap. And she felt that, no, she wasn't going to get back in time to get the reset. But I was still fairly confident we would, because both of our Arty had positioned themselves in such a place where they could get shots on the cap the moment we spotted where the enemy was, and that's what I was hoping they would do. You can see Mary's driving back as fast as she can in the Lansen. It's quite a good little fast medium, but it's, well, not quite fast enough. And you can see the Arty managed to get a reset after I spotted where they are, and I took a round from the enemy. But the Arty are now doing their job, doing their magic. They're getting shots on these guys, resetting the cap. And we're holding the cap, even though they've got 3 in the cap. And I'm taking rounds from the enemy. And Mary comes up. She locks onto the first one's the OI. She tries to foot shot on him. Yep, she gets him. And he's gone down. Now we've got resets on the others. The VK's come out of the cap. He goes down to one of my shots. Then it's just a Thunderbolt. She bounces her round off him. Going for another shot. Oh, and he's gone. And that was the Arty who got that kill, which now means there's only one enemy left. It's the M44. Mary's now got 4 kills in the bank. A nice decent amount of damage, 1,179 hit points recorded. And now it's time to head towards the enemy cap and start capping or putting pressure on the enemy. I think Mary was actually looking for the enemy Arty at this point, and well, the LTG had done a run down the west side of the map, and I don't think there was any chance that he was going to find the Arty over this side. But it's worth knowing that he did actually do that run, and Mary was being thorough by coming down this side just to check anyway. I was heading straight for the enemy cap, but then I realised, knowing where Artys do hide, that I'm pretty certain that enemy Arty was actually sitting in the corner. So I headed off for the corner of the map, and whilst the M44 and the S51 were going straight for the cap. And yes, I found the M44, and he starts rushing towards me, and I put a round in, and that wins the game and finishes it off. So let's have a look at the battle from my perspective. Okay, here's the battle from my view. You can see the battle's just started. There's Mary Banks still back at the cap, or at the spawn point rather, waiting to go. Well, the SU-130PM 13cm gun, as opposed to the 105mm gun on the Lansen C. This one is capable of doing 520 alpha, penetrating 243mm of armor with standard ammo, and that goes up to 320 with the premium heat rounds. And I didn't really expect to have to use the premium heat rounds at all during this game. Standard ammo should be more than enough. Now, from my position, I can see the Type 64 has done a quick recce. He's found the Cromwell and the SU-122-44. I had the idea that maybe one of them would actually pop up at any moment and take a look. Mary Banks has moved into the position on the other mound just opposite me. And I'm wondering, is that Cromwell going to pop up? The T1LC went in too deep and he's gone. T1LPC, yeah, I'm afraid he bought a tank that he really didn't know how to play, and it's cost him. Well, Mary's moved forward, and I pulled back after seeing that and thinking, well, maybe they're going to pop up, I don't know. But she's taken a forward position. I'm still sitting behind the bush, using the bush mechanic, scanning the horizon, just in case one of them pops up. Somebody will spot them, and then I can start shooting without them knowing where I am. Oh, T-52 did come into sight. Unfortunately, I didn't get my gun depression down, and I couldn't get a shot on him. Cromwell pops up for a brief moment, but pops back down again. I think I'm in the wrong mound, so I thought about moving to the one next door. Maybe I'll get a better reaction out of this one. So I move up on. This is the place that Marybanks did go to originally. Knock down the trees. Which does give my position away to the enemy, but I thought if I stayed here, then I might get better shots. Reposition, line up. Okay, this looks good. The Type 64 goes in deep, finds the enemy again, but this time round he finds the Lansen. I fire in his direction, and I don't know where that shell went, but it certainly didn't go to the Lansen at all, even though I had the reticule right on him. Marybanks has gone in deep, and I'm a bit concerned at this point. I thought that she might have gone too deep. She's exchanging fire with the Cromwell, and she gets him. You can see there's plenty of conversation going on in chat. I can't see that SU-130PM coming up. There's the AMX 1375. He's gone behind the rock, and it looks like he's going to move forward. He does, and he dies. So I've got my first kill. Mary's got her first kill, and she dives in, and I can see that, oh, maybe she's gone too far. And I said to her there at the time, maybe she's gone too deep, but she did lose 333 hit points, and so I thought when everyone else was diving in on that spot there, that maybe there would be safety in numbers and I could actually get in, get the kill on the SU-130PM with these guys here, and then we would be safe on this side for the moment. So I lock on to the SU-130PM, fire one right into his ass, ram him, and then Marybanks comes over the ridgeline and steals the kill, and I get hit by, I'm afraid, I lose 183 hit points of damage in the ram. Pop my nose up there, knock the tree down, making some cover, see if I can see the guys up on the hill. But Mary decides she's going to dive in, and I'm fairly certain the Lansen was there, and he was there. And that's their best player so far. The guy I shot at and didn't get any result out of. She's dived in. She's exchanging hit points with him. She gets the kill. And she pulls away from the Lansen C. But then she gets hit by the Arty. The M44 loses a lot of hit points to him. Now, it's just when we're coming up here, we obviously realise there's an SU-130PM, just like me, just over the rise, and there he is. He's been spotted by the Type, and it looks like he's lost a few hit points already. Marybanks puts a round into him, I think, and I pop over the ridgeline and finish him off. Okay, so I got my second kill. Mary's got 3, but I get hit by the enemy Arty, the M44, for 218 hit points. So we know where he is. He's in the corner. At this point, Mary's deciding when to go to the cap, but I realise we've got to get back and get a reset as quickly as we can, and we can't sort of like prevaricate about it or take a route, a roundabout to try and sneak up on the cap. We're just going to have to play it dirty and go straight towards the cap as quickly as we can. And the SU-130PM does not go particularly fast, 65 kilometers per hour forwards and 20 kilometers an hour backwards. It's a fairly slow vehicle. It's carrying a very big heavy gun. There's only 15 seconds left, but I'm fairly certain, knowing where the Arty is, that they will be looking towards the camp and they're waiting for us to spot. They get their first shot in and reset the OI, and I take a round from the T32, but the T32 gets hit by Arty as well, so we've got another reset. So I'm just letting the reload go in, and then I'm going to take a shot at the OI. Yep, get a nice big hit on him for 335. I've been stunned again by Arty. I'm going in to try and get another shot. The reload's almost through. The VK's come towards me and I finish him off at 435. He was looking at Marybanks at the time. Now, we've got the Thunderbolt in there. And I'm almost reloaded. And before I can reload, the Thunderbolt is taken out. But I pick up a spotter for spotting him and getting the damage off that. So we're off towards the cap. Mary's doing a quick circuit around the west side of the map, but I realise at this point now we could win the game. There's only 8 minutes really left, so it's more than enough time to cap out. But it's only when I was actually on the way to the cap that I suddenly remembered, where would an M44 hide? And where did I get hit from earlier in the game? And of course it was in the corner. So it was just as I was coming up this rise that I suddenly thought, hang on, I'm going to the wrong place. I need to go to the corner, not to the centre, to the cap. So I switch course and head off into the corner. The M44 and the S51, they're both headed to the cap, and I'm happy for them to do that. But I suspect that I will find the S51, even though I've got the F61, that I will find the M44. I've only got 267 hit points left, but I'm fairly certain that even if he tries to shotgun me, I will be able to get him. And there he is, he's coming towards me, and that ends the game with 320 hit points, one shot. And that's it, all over. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats and see how everyone did. Well, it was a great game for Marybanks. She got a third class tanker in the Lansen C. She's had better than this before. She's had a third class before. In fact, actually, I seem to recall she's done very well before in the Lansen C. She got a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. She got 4 exactly, a fire effect for doing more damage than the hit points of her own vehicle. And because she took a ricochet or a non-penetrating shot when she had less than 10% of her hit points left, she picked up a Spartan medal. She also got a win rate of 1835, which is very good indeed. And if we look at the team score, we can see exactly where she came. Well, she's actually third on damage in this game, and when it came to number of kills, she was joint top with me. And when it came to base XP, she was second, 871. So we showed this was evidence that Marybanks was still a very good player, and when she plays right, she can win. And she fired 9 shots, got 8 direct hits, 7 penetrations. It's a good 105mm gun, does a lot of damage. 1,486 hit points of damage, of which all of it was at close range. 6 hits received from the enemy, 3 of them were pens, 2 non-pens, and 1 hit by way of splash damage from the enemy Arty. She blocked damage of 230 hit points in total, damaged 4 of the enemy, damaged 5 of the enemy rather, killed 4, and did 841 hit points of damage assistance, and she got 4 defense points when she reset the cap. On a premium count, she earned 66,152 credits, got 50,000 credits for completing the mission events, and that brought up a total of 116,152 credits. After repair and ammunition resupply, she only fired standard ammo throughout the game, 102,974 credits profit, a massive profit, and also positive proof that Mary knows what she's doing. 20 bonds received for the battle, 1,306 XP times 2 for the first victory, 4,308 for completing the mission events, 131 for this being a premium vehicle, and 1,306 from personal reserve. So she took home 8,358 experience points altogether. Now if we shift to my results, you can see that I managed to get a second class tanker in the SU-130PM. I've done better before, but this was a good game anyway. I got a fighter badge as well because I also got 4 kills. I got a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage for the team, and I also got a fire effect for doing more damage than the hit points of my own vehicle. My win rate on this battle was 4,200 on this day. And if we look at the team score again, we can see that Mary Banks was in 3rd place, but I was, on our team, I was at the top with 2,672 hit points of damage, but I wasn't the high caliber overall. The tank that Mary Banks killed, the Lansen C she went in and killed, he got the high caliber with 3,187 hit points of damage. So he was their best player, and she took him out. So it just goes to show Mary does know what she's doing. She can get kills so long as she plays carefully and she doesn't dive in straight away at the start. She actually thinks about what she's doing and hangs back and lets other people put themselves in trouble, and then she can take advantage of them afterwards. When it came to base XP, well, when it came to kills, we could see we were both joint top on that one. The VK3001P got 3 kills, 2 kills to the M44, the KV2, the Lansen C, and the M44 on the enemy team. And when it came to base XP, yes, I did get the top on that one, 1,081, 31 rather, but Mary Banks was very close behind with 871, so about 160 behind me, but still very, very good. And the next highest score after that only had 594, so you can see she was way above him in damage, because it was a full 200 hit experience points difference between her and the M44. If you look at detail report, you can see I fired 8 shots in that game, got 6 direct hits, 6 penetration, damage of 2,672 hit points, of which 295 were at more than 300 meters. I received 1 hit. It was a penetration, I'm afraid. Yes, I did lose some damage, and I also lost some hit points, not only to the Arty, but also to the SU-130PM RAM. I received 4 hits by way of splash damage during that battle, and yeah, the M44 was definitely trying to have a go at me. I think he did see me as a bit of a threat, and I spotted 1 enemy vehicle, damaged 6 of the enemy, killed 4, did 1,130 hit points of spotting assists during the game, and I got 15 defense points when I reset the cap. I earned 93,557 credits on a premium account, got 50,000 credits for completing the mission events, so that brought up a total of 143,557 credits. After repair and ammunition respawn, I only used standard ammo throughout that entire game. I actually took a profit of 128,242 credits. I also earned 1,546 XP times 2 for the first victory, 5,774 for completing the mission events, and 155 for this being a premium vehicle, and took away 9,022 experience points altogether. So I think you can see that Mary Banks has actually come a long way, and her crisis of confidence, well, we all have them at some moments. We doubt that we can actually do things. But you see, Mary did do these things. We talked to her about it and said, you know, give her some friendly advice. Zoe gave her some advice. I gave her some advice. And when she put this into the battle, she came out ahead. She really did well. And I said that maybe she needs to practice a lot of Arty, play Arty, because then she's at the back of the field and she can watch what's going on and then hit the enemy from afar and stay alive at the end of the game. And also I suggested maybe do some tank destroyer work where you're sitting in the bushes, let the enemy be found by your lights and your mediums, and then you can hit them from a long way away and do damage that way. But Mary likes playing mediums, and she certainly likes the Lansen C a lot, and I can see why. It's a decent tank with a nice 105mm gun. Just a bit of a vulnerable hull in terms of damage. As you saw, she did lose a lot of hit points during the game. She got down to less than 10% of her hit points, but it actually gave her an advantage, because when she ricocheted one of the shots from one of the capping enemy tanks, she actually ended up with a Spartan medal out of it, so not bad at all there. I hope you enjoyed this replay and this dual perspective. If you did, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.